Good evening and welcome to the Newshour Agenda. I'm Madhavdas GK. Now, Hindenburg Research has returned with a bombshell allegation. The US-based investment research firm has alleged that SEBI chairperson and her husband had hidden stakes in offshore entities linked to the Adani Group's alleged financial misconduct. This report claims that these entities were part of a network used by Gautam Adani's elder brother to siphon money. It further argued that due to potential conflict of interest, SEBI's impartiality in conducting a probe against the Adani Group is questionable. SEBI, its chief Madhabi Buch and the Adani Group have all issued statements rubbishing these allegations made in the Hindenburg report. SEBI came out in Buch's defense, saying that relevant disclosures required in terms of holding of securities and their transfer have been made by the chairperson from time to time. In a detailed clarification, the SEBI chief has said that the investment Hindenburg report is talking about was made about 2 years before she joined SEBI. Adani Group also rejected these allegations, calling them malicious, mischievous and manipulative. The new Hindenburg report, however, has triggered a massive political face-off. While the opposition is seeking resignation of the SEBI chief and asserting that Indian markets are at significant risk, the BJP is hit back, claiming a conspiracy by Congress and US-based short seller to create economic anarchy in the country.
Over the last few years, larger and larger numbers of people have been investing in India's stock market. They invest their hard-earned, honestly earned savings in the stock market. And it is my duty as leader of the opposition to bring to your notice that there is a significant risk in the Indian stock market because the institution that governs the stock market is compromised.
In their pathological hatred against Narendra Modi ji, led by Mr. Rahul Gandhi and his friends, toolkit gangs, Congress party today has developed a hatred against India itself. अगर भारत का स्टॉक मार्केट गड़बड़ाएगा तो स्मॉल इन्वेस्टर्स परेशान होंगे कि नहीं?
This is an explosive allegation because it alleges that the umpire herself is compromised. The savings of millions of Indians, hard-earned, honestly earned savings, are at risk.
ये कांग्रेस ही हिंडनबर्ग के पीछे है और हिंडनबर्ग एक टूल किट है भारत को तबाह और बर्बाद करने वाले और उसमें राहुल गांधी तमाम लोग लगे हुए हैं.
Why has Chairperson Madhabi Buch not resigned? Second, God forbid something were to go wrong and investors were to lose their money. Who is responsible? Is the Prime Minister of India responsible? Is Madhabi Buch responsible? Or is Mr. Adani responsible?
This is all trying to rattle and spook the stock market. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to create a panic in the stock market in advance. Actually, there is nothing. There is no new material against Adani. He is now attacking the regulator chairperson.
While the BJP is accusing the Congress of trying to trigger economic anarchy in the country, the entire opposition is continuing to raise questions of quid pro quo and conflict of interest. They are reiterating their demand for a JPC investigation into allegations leveled in the Hindenburg report.
Where is the action taken on Gautam Adani? Where is the action taken on Mrs. Madhabi Buch? They want to take action against Rahul Gandhi because he's repeating the charges of Hindenburg. What kind of an era are we living in? Is this government? It's a joke.
Demand the immediate resignation of Madhabi Buch as chairperson of SEBI, and we demand that the Supreme Court reopen an investigation into this and the Supreme Court appoint an SIT to look into this with no delay.
We have written letters, multiple letters as members of parliament to the SEBI chairperson which went unanswered or even unacknowledged. Just goes to show the level of the method that has been used by the entire Modi government to safeguard the interests of one industrialist.
Parliament takes a view to constitute a JPC. This is a fitting issue on which JPC can be formed and is to be formed.
Inquiry that includes the Chief Justice, that includes the leader of opposition. Yes, that committee should investigate the entire Adani scam. Until then, the head of SEBI should step aside.
JPC से इसकी जांच कराओ और तब मेरी एक नहीं सुनी गई, बल्कि उल्टा मोदी जी ने उठा के हमको जेल में भेज दिया।
You're watching the News Hour at 10. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Let's take this across to our guest. Joining us is R.P. Singh, National Spokesperson of BJP. Ishkaran Bhandari, Advocate of Supreme Court, is with us. Also with us is A. Saravanan, National Spokesperson of DMK. Sanjay Hegde, Senior Advocate, is with us. But I want to go first and foremost to T.S. Singhdeo, former Deputy Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh. Mr. T.S. Singhdeo, I'm quoting what Ravi Shankar Prasad said earlier today in a press conference, and he says that Congress has conspired with a US short seller to usher in, quote-unquote, economic anarchy in India, and basically going on to say that the report was released on the weekend to destabilize the markets on Monday morning. Your response to that, Mr. Deo?
Far-fetched, I think. Such words coming from a seasoned and experienced political person. It only strengthens those views which somehow also come into circulation, that is there an attempt to hide something. No, we should be as transparent as possible. If something comes on the public platform, why do we not all say, okay, let's get to the bottom of it? Every party, every responsible political representative should straight away say, if anything comes, let's get to the bottom of it. Rather than speculating and leaving it in the realm of one party accusing the other saying something, the third saying something. The best and the straightest thing is to get to the bottom. Those matters which have been raised by XYZ, they could be anybody. If it affects an institution in the country, we take it up head on and we say, okay, we get to the bottom of it and we'll make it known to everybody.
Right. Mr. R.P. Singh, why not investigate these fresh allegations? In the past, the Supreme Court has been seized of the matter. Given that there are fresh allegations that have come to the fore, why not investigate it? Why not look into that? And then, of course, things can be decided about whether there's any truth in it. Why brush them aside, completely is the question coming in from Mr. T.S. Singhdeo. R.P. Singh.
Well, Madhav, that has been the style of the Congress. Not now, it has been since almost decades now. Remember, Saint Kitts, similar charges were made against VP Singh, and they tried to destabilize the government on basis of some vague charges being made from some newspaper in some other part of the world. And then there was a lot of pressure here because of that. So it's the DNA of the Congress, which they keep doing it, one. Secondly, sir, I can also have certain charges against Mr. Rahul Gandhi also, that he has relationship with people within the Hindenburg. And then there's a lady named Mark Anela, who is wife of a gentleman named Mark Kingdom. And that lady has a Chinese connection. He has invested highly in the digital platform in China. And then Rahul Gandhi has a Chinese connection. They have signed some MOU.
Mr. Singh, what is the basis of you saying this?
Party of China. So give me a second, sir. Give me a second. Can I make my point, please?
No, please make your point. This is Madhav. I'm just asking you, sir. No, one second. Sir, one second. Mr. R.P. Singh, let's be serious. Let's be serious. There is a short seller called Hindenburg. They are saying there is one offshore entity where, in fact, even Ms. Puri Buch has not denied the investment. She said it's before she became SEBI chairperson or even a member. So that investment is not denied. If you're making a claim as Mr. Rahul Gandhi, in the interest of fairness, at least tell us what is the basis on which you're saying that. That's all I'm asking you.
I told you, I'm questioning. I'm also questioning whether he met the lady or not, or whether he met the gentleman who was part of the short selling team here or not, and do that lady has a relationship with the Chinese companies or not. I mean, this is questions being asked today. Similar questions being asked today. So the bigger question is that the lady Madhabi Buch invested in 2015 into some investment company where, I mean, we also invest in capital market, in mutual funds. Do we ask the company that which all companies you are going to invest further? So this is totally shocking, and they are basically one objective: to destabilize the economy, to destabilize the country. They can't win through elections, they can't win through vote. That's why they pick up these sort of toolkits every now and then, whether it's Rafale, whether it's the something else, whether it's the caste play, or whether it is now this Hindenburg. I mean, earlier also Supreme Court also formed a committee to investigate the matter. And Supreme Court has gone through the complete thing, and SEBI has filed. And also obviously Madhabi Buch would have given her disclosure before the Supreme Court. And if it has been given to the Supreme Court about her relationship with Adani, or her relationship with the person who was so-called person who was invested in Adani's, then what's the problem? Then
Mr. T.S. Singh, they'll respond to that. Clarifications have been given earlier to Supreme Court, but since there's a pointed question of Rahul Gandhi, quick response from you before we go across to others.
Respected Mr. Singh was making comments on Rahul ji also. When you are on the public field and when in the public things are laid on the public platform, no matter who that individual is, we are all open to inquiry. Substantiate those issues, substantiate those matters, and then let the people of the country and the authorities that be take any suitable action if there is any wrongdoing. Here the issue which is being raised is of about 80 crores invested. What I
Mr. R.P. Singh, please let him conclude.
Media.
You can come by. You can come in. Yeah, let him make his point. Yeah.
Ji.
Yeah, Mr. Deo, conclude your point.
So this matter which has come up is that there was this investment. This investment was made by the lady, and her husband withdrew this amount a week or 10 days before she was given charge, or she became a regular member of SEBI, etc. And a particular, this particular amount happened to be invested in certain companies, certain offshore companies. So it is a matter of inquiry. If these matters come up, and in politics these things have been coming up from time to time, whether it was the Rafale or whether it was the 2G scam, whether it was a coal scam, one party or the other, when they are in power or in the opposition, they bring up matters. So let them come up. And
let me bring in another question that has been asked by Mr. R.P. Singh, and I want to take that question across to Sanjay Hegde. Sanjay Hegde, R.P. Singh says that this is similar to St. Kitts. There's absolutely no basis of the charges that the opposition is making over here, and that's why he's comparing this to what has happened earlier in St. Kitts. Would you like to respond to that, Sanjay Hegde?
Well, St. Kitts was a long time ago. And what I want to respond to Mr. Singh is that he is outrightly misled. No disclosure was made to the Supreme Court. Because if a disclosure was made to the Supreme Court, there would have been an order. So when the Supreme Court ordered SEBI to investigate into the Adani deals with regard to the Hindenburg report, Mrs. Buch did not, through SEBI, say, look, this is what you should be aware of, that there are these investments. There may be a conflict of interest as far as the head of SEBI is concerned. I will step aside from SEBI or ensure that there are Chinese walls. There is nothing at all like that on the record of the Supreme Court. Mr. R.P. Singh has not been properly instructed. That is what we say in polite legal language. In impolite legal language, we can say that he's being economical with the truth.
R.P. Singh, why no disclosure? If Madhabi Buch was aware of these investments, why not disclose it before the Supreme Court?
Well, how do we know about it? I mean, how do Mr. Hegde know about it? Let Supreme Court tell about this. Let Supreme Court make it public. I'm saying so, but I'm making it on record. The gentleman named Nathan Henderson of the Hindenburg and Mark Kingdom. I didn't interrupt you, sir. Please hold on. This is not a court. This is a mother's debate. I mean, I never interrupted you. So Hindenburg, Mr. Nathan Henderson, Mark Kingdom, and Annalise Ching, the wife of Mark Kingdom, they all were partner in short selling here, and the lady has connection with China. And I'm saying so that Mr. Rahul Gandhi is a signatory to MOU with the Communist Party of China. So this can be a big game plan also, if the acquisition is to go.
Okay. Let me take that question across to Ishkaran. Ishkaran, simple question coming in from Sanjay Hegde is, why was it not disclosed? If there's such a huge matter that is known to Madhabi Buch, why not disclose it and say that while there is such and such an information, I'm telling you that such a matter is being investigated by SEBI. Simple question.
Madhav, before assuming charge of SEBI, she would have made all disclosures, and that would come out in due course whether she has made all disclosures when she was being appointed or not. But we have to look at a larger picture. What is Hindenburg at its highest? A foreign report a foreign agency which is in the business of short selling. Let me quote you another foreign person, Mr. George Soros, whose exact comments, because it's an international report we are discussing with so much seriousness here. I think the colonialness has not gone out of our mind just because a foreign player who's admittedly a short seller. Firstly, the first Hindenburg report. How much money did Hindenburg and its affiliates make by destroying the wealth of normal individuals in India, which has again come back in the stock market? But what was the profit? Have they made a disclosure? What was their or their associated shell companies or the people they informed in prior profit made by them in the entire first Hindenburg report, I'm asking? Second, didn't have effect because the market didn't react. But second also, market moves on sentiment. They try to spook the market. They try to make money. If an Indian person was deliberately making these sort of news reports and trying to make money without evidence, that person would be in jail. But because they are sitting abroad, they can do that. And unfortunately, everybody has to discuss it because that is what I am saying, our colonial legacy hasn't gone. But now let me come to what another person who's famous for short selling, who's famous for making money by destroying economies, Mr. George Soros says. He said the biggest and the most frightening setback occurred in India, where a democratically elected Narendra Modi is creating a Hindu nationalist state, imposing punitive measures on Kashmir, a semi-autonomous Muslim area, threatening to deprive millions of Muslims of their citizenship. Now, you know, nothing like that has happened. No Muslim citizenship has been denied. But these globalist forces, of course, are unhappy with the leadership of India, democratically elected by the people of India. Second, you see the entire region, from Bangladesh to Sri Lanka to Myanmar to Pakistan is anyways a bankrupt state, but how regime change operations are carrying out. You see a judgment which comes from court, so-called student protests happen in Bangladesh, and now Hindu genocide is happening. You see in Sri Lanka on economic questions, what happened? Rajapaksa is out of power and somehow Sri Lanka is again normal. So if you can't see all that, and yet we sit here and discuss Hindenburg as if it's some great report by some person which is not having ulterior motive. They are screaming from the rooftop they are short sellers. They have ulterior motive. They are in to make profit. They don't disclose what they make on the first Hindenburg report, and still we have to discuss them seriously. So I will only end by saying this. Globalist forces want to destroy the economy of India. Very often,
many hands
even
going up.
without facts, economies can be destroyed by rumors, and that is what they are indulging in.
Okay, I'm going to give Sanjay Hegde a quick chance to rebut that. Sanjay Hegde, these are globalist forces, and I'm just going to read out for a moment what OCCRP, in fact, the Supreme Court had rejected the OCCRP report earlier, saying that it doesn't have authenticity, etc., or conclusive proof. But this is what George Soros said after the first Hindenburg report, part of which, in fact, was quoted by Ishkaran. He says that this will significantly weaken Modi's stranglehold on India's federal government and open door to push for much-needed reforms. It's quite a politically loaded statement here. Can it be just taken as a benign one? Sanjay Hegde.
Listen, forget George Soros, forget anyone. You can have all your bogeymen. The real thing is Indian money gets invested in Adani and is regulated by SEBI. How safe is it? What Hindenburg is basically telling you is that this is a castle of sand built on a mountain of debt. Based on that, Hindenburg thought that it was a good case for short selling. They laid out their entire case for short selling. By the way, there is nothing virtuous or vicious about short selling. If you can go long on the market, you can go short on the market. So there is nothing about good motives when you want to go long or bad motives when you want to go short. If you believe something is overpriced, then you decide to short sell. After the first expose, has the Indian government ever looked at how money can be transacted into the Indian stock market? Have you done anything to insulate yourself against foreign short sellers? Nothing. The main question is, what is the extent of regulation in India, and does the regulator give investors a sense of safety, whether they're domestic or whether they are foreign? Here, what we know is that the regulator appears to have been compromised. What is the extent? That has to be seen. That is a matter for investigation. The option of putting your head in the sand and saying George Soros, does not exist.
Okay, there are serious questions.
This is Indian money that is at stake.
Okay, there are serious questions about Indian money and the manner in which the regulation of the stock market happens, and these are very, very serious takeaways. You can't just brush it aside by saying that it's a foreign report and bringing in George Soros' name. Respond to Sanjay Hegde, Karan.
Madhav, firstly, what was the profit made by Hindenburg? Nobody has spoken. Nobody has brought it out. Hindenburg and its associated companies. You can short sell, but if you deliberately create false information in the market to spook the markets and sit abroad, and you have various shell companies and you make profit and people want to justify that, that is not a flaw of the Indian market. That is globalist forces trying to destroy Indian market and enough useful idiots in India supporting it. Now the second aspect, if there is a fire in theatre and you say there is a fire in theatre and this theatre business is going down, you are correct. But if it's a perfectly functioning theatre, but you shout fire in the theatre, create a stampede, people die, and the business of theatre goes down because of that, that is not correct. What Hindenburg is doing appears to be the latter. In a perfectly functioning system, with its obviously normal market forces, it is shouting fire in theatre to create panic, to create stampede, and then say, oh, people have died. And lastly, there are foreign investors in the market. Why is the second Hindenburg report and the Sensex is strong today? Because neither the foreign investors nor the domestic investors, after the first fake operation of Hindenburg, take Hindenburg seriously. And lastly, I will end again. What is Hindenburg? It's just a random report of short sellers. Why is it given its due weightage, including by political leaders? Because they want to create chaos and they want to benefit out of this chaos.
Okay. Saravanan, I want you to come in on this because, you know, there is one second. Yeah.
Quick one-liner.
Yeah. Very quickly, please.
Did Adani ever sue Hindenburg in a US court as he threatened to? No. Because then all the disclosures would have come out.
You want to respond to that, Ishran?
Absolutely. It is Adani's choice of what he wants to do, where he wants to do. Very often in defamation, anybody knows defamation laws. When you go to defamation, there is enough information, new things you have to give, and it becomes an endless cycle for a business house. A business house has to make that decision not only because it's correct, because very often a big business is the target, and it might have to give confidential information when it goes to sue you in a US court, and it may not want to exercise that opportunity.
Okay. Saravanan, I want you to come in on this because this is what the expert committee of the Supreme Court had said earlier, that they found, quote unquote, no coherent pattern of abusive trading. The matter, of course, was also, various aspects of this have been investigated by, SEBI and they have, in fact, given their report to the Supreme Court as well. At the end of the day, are we now questioning the Supreme Court, the expert committee, etc. as well?
Yeah. The biggest achievement of the BJP in the last 10 years is making the Adani the second most richest person in the whole world. This is the biggest achievement of the BJP. They never bother about the common man. And now, when a foreign entity, see, in Tamil we have a saying, Yeppurul yar yar vai ketpidum, appurul meipurul kanbadu arivu. It means, leave who is saying what, leave who is saying that, listen to what he is saying, investigate that, go to the bottom of that. Hindenburg made certain allegations the first time, where those allegations investigated, everything was backed by prima facie data. When there is prima facie data, they have to be investigated. When you have the strong arm of the enforcement directorate, which can arrest all the political opponents, why not a little finger against the Adani group? Because the allegations raised in the first report were very serious. And the Supreme Court entrusted this matter to be investigated by SEBI. And who is the chairperson of SEBI? Who deals with Mr. Adani? She had met 2 times Mr. Adani, and as pointed out by Mr. Sanjay Hegde, those were not let to know before the Supreme Court. The recusals have not come before the Supreme Court. So what are they trying to hide? This pattern clearly establishes that the government, in the garb of nationalism, in the garb of securing the national economy of this country, is trying to protect one individual group. They are not bothered about the common man or the common man's money. Who is recusing? Who is rescuing Adani? The LIC.
Okay. Okay,
allegations were made that LIC's money were used to purchase Adani Group shares. Was any investigation made on that?
Okay, I want Ishkaran to come in on one point. Ishkaran, one of the things that Hindenburg said in response to Madhabi Buch's statement, they say that the claim that the company she established, including an Indian entity and a Singaporean entity, became dormant after she came into, SEBI, etc. They say that that's not factually true. And they even quoted a certain figure, which they believe is the earnings of these companies over several years. So they are saying, can we take her statements at face value if she has been, quote unquote, economical with the truth in this aspect? Ishkaran.
Madhav, firstly, my view is I do not take Hindenburg report seriously. They can make any allegation sitting abroad and they are not susceptible, amenable to the jurisdiction of Indian courts in the strictest sense. So, of course, they can sit outside. They have a profit motive. For that profit motive, they may say 10 truths. Let's say, for example, they may say 10 truths and they may say 100 untruths to make a profit. And unfortunately, because a foreign report comes, we declare it very seriously. So I will just leave it to the market. Just last, I'll end with this. There are foreign investors in the Indian market. There are Indian investors in the Indian market. None of them have taken the report seriously. That is why the stock market is serious today. And these are the experts of stock market. If what Hindenburg was saying, that run which happened in the first report would have continued, would have been a slide, it wouldn't have recovered. On the second report, we would have again had a market crash. Nothing has happened. So people investing in the market, both domestic and foreign, know the value of Hindenburg is nothing but an extortion, blackmail effort to make money, nothing more than that.
All right, it's an extortion and blackmail effort. That's the word coming in from Ishkaran. We'll have to leave it there, gentlemen. A. Saravanan, Sanjay Hegde, T.S. Singh Deo, Ishkaran Bhandari and R.P. Singh. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us on what's clearly the start of a massive political war of words. How this issue, in fact, will have a political fallout in coming days remains to be seen. On to debate number 2.